Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit and today we'll talk about function in JavaScript. In this series, today we'll basically focus on the function, what is function and why we need the function in our JavaScript. So basically, function is a set of block that can be executed whenever we call that functions. So let's see why we do need that function. So we can reuse the code, define the code once and make call as much as we want. So basically, if you see here, this is my JavaScript controller. Here I'll write that function. To declaration of the function, you need to type the function keyword and then let's say you need to be put the function name. So that function name should be meaningful. Let's say that print data, something like that. So you can put any camel casing or anything like that. And then here you need to put the bracket inside. After bracket, you need to start parenthesis and end parenthesis. Inside that, whatever processing we need to do that, we have to be put that. Let's say I'll put that var number, something like that, and I'll say that 100, something like that. And here I'll say that var name, or maybe I will say that var name equal to I'll say that Rohit. So this is my functions which is going to be perform certain action. So I will print that function called gs.info and say that uh, my name is something like that, and here I'll print the name plus here I'll put that code something like that and the braces and something like that. So this might be my function which are going to be perform certain actions. So what actions that function is going to do that? It will pick that number equal to, it will set the number equal to 100 and then here the name equal to, it will set the Rohit and then we are going to print these things. Now if we run this script, what will be happen? Let's see. First of all, if we run this script, it will do nothing because this function we have declared, but we have not called these functions. Until unless once you declare the function, until unless you are not calling that function, it will be as it is remain same. Once you call that, the function will be work actually whatever written inside the function code. So let's say how we can call that. So declaring a function is just like function and then function name, and calling the function is pretty much more simple that just put the function name and then bracket and call that. So that's it. So once you run that, the function is going to be called. Now this is the message which was inside these functions, so which is getting print. So if you call 100 times, 1,000 times, each and every time the same things will be repeated. So you don't need to write this code again and again. If it is 1,000 line code, you don't need to write this 1,000 line code again and again. You just simply call this, you write this function one time and then call as many time as you want. So basically function is help you to reduce the line number of code. So and if you see about that, the function is used multiple places and any bug came, so if you want to fix that, you don't need to come each and every line. Once you fix one places, it will fix every places basically. So functions is like you type the function keyword, then put the function name and whatever inside that you can do that. Now you can see if I copy and paste twice, thrice, fourth time, how many time we will do that? The function will be, this actual function will be execute or call that much time, and it will print that number. Now functions have another capability that it can be generate or it can be do dynamically. So when you creating a function or when you calling the function, you can pass some value. So let's see, I will pass that 100 here, I'll pass here 200, here I'll pass the 300, something like that. And then when you declare the function, you have a capability to parameterize or that parameterize. So I'll say that a num here, okay, or let's say in something like that. So whenever I am passing some value or something as a parameter one, this call be parameter one. Whenever I am passing something here, it will receive from here, and then this value can be used inside of any of these functions. So let's say I will that function or that value I used inside this declaration. So this, whenever I'll pass the 100, what will be happen? It will be show that my name is Rohit got 100. My name is Rohit got 200. My name is Rohit got 300. So basically, if I run that, You can see we got this Rohit is a static value. This is the Rohit. This is static value, but their value or the number are different. So basically, it's not always static. That function can be created as a dynamic function, and it can be reused over the time. Now let's see that these calculation or these things, we have inside the function. We have a return method. So what does it return method is do? So let's say that I want to do some calculation. Let's say if num um, is more than 300, okay, so I want to print certain value, okay, or else. So we already talk about if else block. So else we want to talk about a different value. So if the num value is more than 300, we will print some value called, let's say I'll print the gs.info and then number is more than 300. So this might be one message or print, and then if it is come to this block and here I'll just type the less than. Okay, so here I'll put the 301 and then 200, and now if we run that, what will be happen? Let's first see and then we can understand. So if I run that, you can see one value which is coming as number is more than 300, another is coming number is I mean here less than, it will be less than. So yeah, so basically I'll type here. Now one value is coming as a number is more than 300, another is coming as number is less than 300. So basically two value we are getting. Now what we can do, basically we can use a return keyword to return the value. Okay, so right now what is happening, it's calculating and it is printing some value because this task is actually doing here, but we don't want to use that. In that case, what we can do, we can just type the return keyword, return, and then here something like that, and then we can pass that. Now there is one thing, we'll just pass the return, and instead of do that, if I run that, what will be happen? Right now that none of this R will be print anymore. You can see none of this are printing anymore, because what will be happen, this function is called, I mean when we call these functions, let's say I'm going to call these functions. Once I call these functions, this go to this function and this calculate something and return me some value. So it means that after calculation it returns some value. That value I have to store somewhere else. So let's say I will store as a p1. So once I store this p1, I can print this value inside this p1. So basically calculation is doing here and inside the function, and after calculation it is returning some value. That value I have to store and print that. So let's run that. So you can see right now it is printing the number is more than 300, because this is the value, this is the value that we are getting. So you can see that. So basically whenever you are calling these functions, whenever you are doing something, make sure that it's return some value. So this way we can actually assign in the variable, we can assign some value from the function. So using the return keyword, we can just use the return keyword, and then actually it is not doing that, it is doing some calculation, and finally it is returning some value. That value we are actually going to be print here. So let's say I'll just reverse that more than, and this will be less than. Now let's say I will store another value called p2, and inside the p2 I'll store this value. So two function I am calling twice this function, and then each and every value I am storing into that one of these variables. So p1 I am storing one value, and p2 I am storing another value. Now later I want to use anything on this function, we can use that. So for that, what we can do, we can use the p2 and then run that. So what will be happening, p1 will be have the value called something called number is less than 300, and p2 will be more than 300. If we run that, it will combine and printing that. So basically p1 and p2 both have some value, and this value can be used anywhere in this case. So basically return keyword just will return that. Now if you want to print something, you can print that, but return keyword will return some value. So if you want to get some, if you are expecting some value from a function, you just have to use the return keyword. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.